Of all places. So, welcome everyone to this. I'm really, really excited about this. We've never done this before. This was Alicia's brainchild. Alicia has a lot of those. Alicia is our chief marketing officer. There we go. And what we're here to talk about today is the quantum teaching curriculum. Lisa Noble, I see that you're here. Can you join us on camera or do you need to be off camera? Coast Joyce. There you are. Hi. You're muted.
I'm sorry. I'm at a cat sanctuary visiting kitty cats that are trying to get adopted. So
Oh my God, I love that.
there's a bunch of kitty cats here, and we're visiting them every day. My mom's had to
Oh,
surrender 9 cats when she
oh
came
my
to live with me.
gosh.
So
Oh my
anyway,
gosh.
I am here. If you don't mind me walking around and being a
No, not at
disruptor,
all.
I really want to
Especially,
be here.
especially being at a cat sanctuary. Are you kidding me?
Listen, you're home right now with all of the
I am
animal
home.
communicators right now. We're like all buzzing.
We have animal lovers, we have animal communicators. You're with your people.
Yes. Yeah,
My
my
cat.
mom had to surrender 9 cats, and so they're allowing us to be here to help them to feel at home, so that they can get adopted.
God bless you. I take care of my mom, so I get it.
Dementia, it's hard.
Oh, listen, my dad had dementia. Like Lisa, it got to the point where he'd look at me and he'd go, "You're the oldest one, right?" Or sometimes he wouldn't recognize me at all. He could not remember my name for the life of him. Like, God bless him. But it's um
Oh,
it's a tough one.
yeah.
You have all of my love and all of my compassion. I know this journey. It gets
And they're not always nice. They're kind of
oh,
combative, these
oh, oh,
parents,
oh,
because
oh.
they're used to being the parents, not the children.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
So
And they just
thank you.
it's a whole reversal. So yeah, no, I get it. I get it. Welcome everyone.
Thank
So
you.
my name is Reverend Lynn the Board. If we haven't met before, for those of you that I know, it's thank you so much for being here. For those of you that I haven't met, it's a delight having you here. And we're here to talk about what is, I think, the single greatest offering that I have for humanity, which I call the quantum teaching curriculum. And the quantum teaching curriculum is made up of 7 classes, and it corresponds to each of the 7 chakras as it developed over time. I have, I think, over 45 certificates at this point of teachings that I've been doing since I was very young. My spiritual journey started when I was 11 years old, when my mom put in my hands a book that was called The Sleeping Prophet about Edgar Cayce and his journeys as the one of the greatest psychic mediums that ever lived. He would go into a trance and he would bring back information from what was called the Akashic Records, and I was transfixed. I didn't know what they were, but I knew that my soul was like, the Akashic Records, the Akashic Records. And at that time, the only place you could get your records were read were if you made a trip to India. And at 11 years old, that wasn't happening. I'm actually going to India next year, which will be fascinating and part of this journey. But at the time, I tried to get my hands on everything that I could metaphysical. So I started reading, um, I started reading Shirley MacLaine, Out on a Limb, Don't Fall Off the Mountain, and all of her spiritual adventures, which were unheard of in the early 70s. And I started reading the Seth materials that Jane Roberts had written and The Education of Oversoul 7 and that whole trilogy. And then I think there was like Eric Von Degen and the Chariots of the Gods. There wasn't a lot. Lawrence LeSean talking about how to meditate and how to levitate. And so I'm, sitting there as an 11-year-old with my fingers going, I didn't know what I was doing, but some part of my soul resonated with it. And it was just like my desire, my hunger for all things spiritual. And lo and behold, in 2017, a girlfriend posted on Facebook saying her name was Tiffany. And she said, "Hey, I just learned how to read the Akashic Records. I need some volunteers to practice on." And I called her on the phone and I'm like, "Tiffany, Tiffany, pick me, pick me." I would have done anything, like anything, short of selling my cat for medical experiments Anyway, she picked me. She did a reading with me. And it was one of those moments where your entire life changes. I've always had the ability to know when someone's telling the truth. Actually, we all have this ability. We can feel when the truth lands on us as truth, and we can tell when something's off, like it doesn't land right. It's off a little. And we know, especially as women. And I think we're mostly a group of women. So she read my records, and I was like, oh my God, how did you learn to do this? And she said, there's a woman by the name of Linda Howe, and she teaches people how to read the records. And I'm like, oh my God, I have to learn. I have to learn. So I signed up for Linda Howe's course, which was very expensive at the time in my world. And it was 3 months long of meeting with her for several hours every week, practicing with people from around the world. And it was one of the most phenomenal experiences of my life. And then the very, very first time I opened the records, there were these beings jumping up and down, shouting at me, halls of Amenti, halls of Amenti, halls of Amenti. I was personally terrified. I'm like, what's going on? And I had no idea what the halls of Menti were. So I closed the records really quickly. And I reached out to Linda and I said, what was that? She said, well, obviously they're really excited to see you. Why don't you go back in, ask them to calm down, and see if you can Google and find out what the halls of Menti are. Yeah, Google was around by then. This was anyway. So I Google halls of Amenti, and it literally said the halls of Amenti is where the Akashic records were kept in Atlantis. And I'm like, what's happening? So I go back in and I'm like, hello. You say this prayer to open up the records. And I'm like, hello. And they said, welcome back. You were with us in Atlantis. You were one of the keepers of the records. In fact, you need to start teaching people how to read the Akashic records. And I'm like, what? It's when your whole life changes, like something happens and it changes everything. So I started teaching people how to read the Akashic records. But prior to that, I had done 8 years of study with one organization and then 5 years of study with another organization to learn everything that I could get my hands on that would lead me closer to God, tools and techniques. And in about early 2019, I decided to start teaching again. I'd had some people come into my lives. I was using tools and techniques on them to help make them better. And I thought, you know what? I need to teach this. So I opened up the Soma Life Sanctuary. Soma Life is my company. And I created this year-long program that I call the Quantum Teaching Curriculum. And we've got a few people here that have been through the program. And it changes your life. Yeah. So I have 7 classes. And the very first class is what's called Quantum Akashic Healing. And it's the one that has to do with the root chakra, because I've correlated the classes to the different chakras in the body. So there's Quantum Akashic Healing, and that's where you learn, um, 11 or 12 different techniques about how to communicate with spirit, how to get in touch with your own soul, how to open up your psychic gifts, how to learn how to read the Akashic records, and so much more. You learn how to handle trauma. You learn how to handle entities, dealing with entities. We've had a bunch of those. I think I removed 3 from people today. It's just been like they're popping up all over the place. And then what I do is I teach, the next class is called Quantum Communication, and it's where you learn how to communicate things that you thought you could never communicate to another person. Because when we keep secrets, when we keep things that we haven't been able to communicate, it literally cuts us off. It cuts our heart off from being able to be intimate, not only with others, but also with ourselves. Things that we have tucked away inside of our unconscious and our subconscious. Then the next class that we teach is what's called quantum relationships. And in that class, you learn the power of presence. And it's fierce because when we have something that reminds us of something else, it takes us out of the present. We have another class that is called Quantum Akashic Intelligence. And that's where you learn how to go into the Akashic records, into the future. You learn how to go to simultaneous existences. Then we have quantum abundance. We have quantum sexuality. And then we have quantum spirituality. And quantum spirituality is one of the things I do is I channel Jesus, and he comes in and he actually teaches that class. And he takes you on some mind bending journeys through meditations and such. So this entire program teaches you about 40 different tools and techniques for handling the spiritual realms. Teaches you about your clairs. clairsentience, claircognizance, clairaudience, clairvoyance. It teaches you. I've just been taking a journey now with something called remote viewing and finding out that I'm really, really good at it because my clairs are wide open. You find out where you've stopped yourself in other lifetimes, where you've closed down your gifts and your abilities. And it gives you this phenomenal toolkit to be able to, if you want to open up a spiritual practice, to help people, help yourself, most importantly, and you develop a phenomenal community of friends. In fact, 4 of the women that have been in my community, I just got to see a picture of them together. They took a girls' weekend in Las Vegas to go see the Wizard of Oz at the Sphere, and one of them is here, Joyce. And Joyce, like, you get to find out who people are from previous lifetimes and why you feel so close to them or why you feel so like fingernails on a chalkboard with them. There's a lot of different ways that we interact with people when we first meet them. But this entire body of work is geared towards giving you the best chance at reconnecting with your own soul, finding out what your soul purpose is, why you're here on earth, what you're here to do, why there are certain things that are easy for you, why there are certain things that are really challenging for you, why there are things that you love and then the things that you're just terrified of. Found out why I was terrified of spiders, why I wanted nothing to do with Spain and Germany, and why Paris was my favorite place in the world. You get to find out the answer to every question that you've ever had about life itself. So, what I've done for next year is I've structured it such that there are going to be 6 classes that are taught instead of 7. The prerequisite is what's called the quantum teaching curriculum. I'm sorry, the prerequisite is what's called quantum Akashic healing. And I have 2 young ladies that are here that are actually going to be teaching that class this year, November, December, January, and then into February. So we'll actually start the quantum teaching curriculum in the middle of February and follow it through till the end of the year. And they are Laura Lee and Nina, and they have been with me for years. Nina had to just go off camera for a second, but there she is again. So Laura Lee and Nina have not only worked with me, but they've been students and clients of mine, and they have really stepped forward as mentors within the community to help clients and to help students. And there's a portion of next year, there's several retreats that we're going on, but I'm also taking 3 months as directed by Spirit to go to India to be in silence. So they're going to be teaching during that portion. So we're going to start with quantum communication at the beginning of the year and then finish up with quantum spirituality at the end of the year. And it's going to be a really, really wild ride. So Joyce, did you want to talk about, I wanted to invite you first as one of the people that's done the program for the year. What was that experience like for you? And what would you say are a few of the takeaways that you have besides the community, which is phenomenal?
Um, well, the communities, the friends that I've made, the never felt like I belong, but now I have connections to everybody I feel on a heart level.
Mm,
I mean mental as well, but more so heart. And I think when I first met you, my son had died by suicide earlier that year, and I was really searching. I've always been a seeker, but really searching. And I was listening to your presentations on Akashic reading, and you were doing different readings for people, and then you were doing a reading for me. And my son had just kind of like pushed in. You're like, well, this is not what we usually do, but anyway, kind of through that and my listening to, I would always ask myself, how does this support me? And then I
mm,
muscle test. Does this support me? If I do this, does this support me 10%? Or even more specific, does it support my spiritual path or my growth or something really specific? What percentage? And it was just an overwhelming yes for the
mm,
year-long class,
mm.
which was, it was a huge commitment for me
Yeah.
to do that, both being a yoga teacher financially and also time-wise.
Yeah.
I learned things about myself I didn't know I wanted to know. I may
Mm,
still have not wanted to know them, but they got me to the point where I now know myself and love myself on a different level than I could have
mm,
ever done before. As you're
mm,
picking out the classes, I have ADHD. So if you're in conversation with me, I'm kind of trying to listen, but I'm looking someplace else. But
mhm,
the communications class really allowed me to focus deeper in a way I never had before in
Yeah.
communication with someone. So I just, it's brought my gifts, it's opened them up to my,
Mm,
it's made me be okay with whatever I called my weird self, like
mm.
that self I didn't want to really open up. Um, I just, I don't know how. People don't know how, as a mother who's lost a child that took his life, they don't understand how I could be in a place where I am with my heart and soul. And also have mediumship, so I talk to my son all the time.
Mm.
But thank you, Lynn, and thank you,
Welcome.
Nina too, and Laura Lee and Alicia, because you helped me get there. Like you listen to my boo-hooing and sob stories, and then you listen to me become like a realization of I'm the creator of all of this. And why did I create it? And I created it so I could be my highest spiritual self and closest to God. So thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you, love. Watching you blossom has been really, really extraordinary. And I'm grateful to have you in my life. When I saw the picture of the four of you in front of Dorothy, the Tin Man, the Cowardly Lion, and like I was like, oh, it's the four of it. Like it was just the cutest moment ever. And you know, just the friendships that have come out of this. There was a friend of ours, a mutual friend of ours named Ellen, and I was at her house one day and I was flying home. I was visiting with her, and she's like, I'm doing an event at my house tonight and you're going to be talking. And I'm like, I am. And it was when I met you all, and it was just like sometimes you meet people and you just know that they're your soul family. And obviously, we found out that we are soul family. So that was even more beautiful. Thank you, my love. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And Alicia, Alicia showed up in my life at an event back in 2018, and she just extended her hand and said, I want to help you build your business. And she's been with me ever since. And we keep calling it 8 years. I don't care how much it is in the calendar. It's more like 8,000 years. But she has just been so precious to me. And she is for me in a way that's so extraordinary. She calls me her mentor. She edifies me every chance she gets. She is, one of the most phenomenal supports that I have in my life. So, Alicia, did you want to talk about your journey through the curriculum?
Yeah, I think that something that's so special about the Soma Life curriculum is that it really gives people who know that they have some sort of intuitive gifts the right container to support them in that growth. And I was someone who was always in tune in a way, and I felt like ostracized because of that, you know? There's no one to be like, oh, hey, I saw this spirit or this ghost visited me at night, you know? Like they're gonna lock you away.
Yep.
But like at Soma, it creates the community where you're allowed to explore your gifts in a way that's so healthy and allows you to truly discover the depth of what that is. And, working with Lynn, it's been so incredible for my own personal healing, including, overcoming depression, overcoming suicidal thoughts, and really getting to a place where I'm loving my life. And then beyond that, I've even developed my own spiritual business doing healings with other people. And there's certain people who have this calling that's like, I know that I'm here to do something greater than the life that is right in front of me right now. I know I'm here to help people. This could be the calling for you. There's this itch that's like in our souls that's like, hey, don't forget you incarnated here to do something good for the world. Don't forget. Like it's always nudging you, it's always tapping you, it's always saying, like, hey, don't forget about this thing. Like if you're here and you're listening to this, it's for a reason. It's to tap in more deeply to that nudge, to really discover what it is that you desire to do for the collective.
And you know that
Yeah.
your soul has brought you here. Thank you for that, love.
Yes.
That meeting that you and Rob and I had really opened me back up to bringing these tools to the world, because I had started studying this material back in 1989 and finished up in the mid 90s, and then had some other studies that I did. But being able to bring everything that I studied with power leadership and then everything that I studied with holodynamics and everything that I had been guided by Yeshua and Magdalene and several others along the way to put together this body of work has been like the greatest accomplishment of my life. And I'm thrilled to have you be a part of it. Thank you for helping me bring this to the world. It's been my delight. All right, next I want to bring forth Laura Lee and Nina and introduce them as two of the people that are going to be teaching and mentoring and working with the students during this program. We've started off, each time I've done this, we've started off with about 30 people. It's really interesting. But by the end, you don't have that many because sometimes people get really confronted by what's coming up for them, things that they've never wanted to talk about, things they haven't known how to talk about. I always thought when I was young that everybody saw what I did. So I would say things out loud and everybody was like, shh, you can't talk about that. What are you talking about? Nobody else sees that. I even just recently had something where I saw something and I was like, does anyone else see that? So the thing that's beautiful about this community is you can come to this community and everybody's like, yeah, I can see that thing too. So you don't feel like you're out there, by yourself on your own. So Nina, would you please talk about what your journey with this has been like for you?
Sure. Thank you. I came upon this curriculum, Lynn in particular, at a time of my life where I knew I wasn't doing what I was supposed to be doing, but I really was not clear at all about what I was supposed to be doing. And I went on a retreat and I met Lynn at this retreat. I was not having a good time at all during this retreat, and I was ready to leave. And I'd only met her for one day. We were in, workshops together, and I was trying to sneak in the morning and roll up my yoga mat and quietly leave the retreat and go home because I was, very just giving up. I said, that's it. This just isn't working for me. Nothing's working for me, rah, rah, rah. And Lynn stopped me. She had a message from Yeshua who said, no, no, don't let her go. And she didn't. She hugged me and she said, it's going to be okay. Everything's going to be okay. And from that moment on, I felt held, I felt protected, and I learned more about what she does. And I knew that that teaching was calling me and saying, this is it. This is what you've been waiting for. This is it. Don't run. And I signed up for the course. And I can say since then, so much of my life has changed for the better. It cleared so much trauma from my heart, from my life that was blocking me from what I'm really truly here to do and to be. And it's opened up gifts that I had no idea that I had. It's opened up mediumship, but it's also opened up my ability to communicate with animals. And so I'm a pet whisperer as well. And I believe that is one of my true callings, as I've been doing it my entire life and I had no idea. I had no idea I was already doing it. I thought everybody could do that. Like Len said, thought everybody could see this stuff. I thought everybody could talk to animals. And so it's just been such a journey. And if you're willing to put yourself first and know that you're being held and witnessed from a place of love, the sky's the limit. The sky's the limit. It's worth it to do the work on yourself. You're worth doing the work. I'm worth it. I'm worth doing the work on myself. And it's just been magical and sometimes challenging. Yes. But the best decision I've ever made in my life was to continue working on myself and learning these skills. I still use them today, and I've been able to help friends and family and just meet new people where I feel like this is where I belong. I'm home. I felt like I was home.
You've helped clients, you've helped students. You've been amazing. You have an incredible compassion. And Nina and I were at an event over the weekend, and I was twisted. And I reached out to her, and she was just right there for me. I'm blessed and lucky because I now have this huge community of people that when I get caught, I can reach out and be like, help, help.
Ditto, ditto. Now I have a community of people. I'm not
Mhm.
sitting alone in my house under the covers, like, how do I work through this? What's happening to me?
Right.
There's lots of people out there that, want to help.
Yeah, exactly.
Grateful.
And are really, really capable. Thank you, my love.
Thank you.
Laura Lee. Laura Lee and I met a few years ago, 2020, 2021, 2022, when I was having some problem with staffing, and she reached out to me and she's like, I'm told I can help you. And I was like, oh my God, thank you. I'd never had anybody come forth like that. And she's been phenomenal. Would you please share, my love, what this quantum teaching curriculum has been like for you?
For me, this journey is everything I was asking for, but I did not know that I was asking for. I got into Lynn's life and into this business with such a narrow mind, such a mathematical logic, needing to see and touch to believe kind of way. And I already did at that time. I was certified yoga teacher. But while I was doing my yoga teaching curriculum to get certified to teach yoga, as soon as the teacher got into the spiritual aspect of yoga, I completely shut it all down. And I was like, no, I do not believe any of that. I'm not buying any of that stuff. And I don't believe in any of it. And I'm going to, teach the asana from A to B to C, and yoga is a sport, and that's what I'm going to do. And Joyce is laughing.
Look at you now.
But yeah. And back then, now I say this with all the truth in my heart because I'm not afraid to say this anymore. But you would have asked me in 2022, Laura Lee, do you believe in God? And my answer would have been no.
Mm.
And now I have this amazing relationship, this amazing connection with the truth of who I am. And all these stories that I was telling myself, that I would lose my family, lose my partner if I developed any kind of relationship with Jesus and God and Mary Magdalene. And there's a lot of religious trauma in my family and close by where I live. And all of that was just pure BS because I did not lose anyone. Everything is okay. And for one thing, like, me opening up has allowed people close to me to open up also, which feels really great. And that's not why we do it. We don't do work on ourselves so the people around us will evolve and grow. That's not how it works. But it's a byproduct. It's a byproduct of who you become, who you integrate to be, and you realize that your frequency has an impact around you everywhere, everywhere that you go. And for me, the gift that has opened up is channeling, along many others. But the one that has surprised me the most is channeling, because the first time that came through, the thing that came up in my brain was, am I allowed to do that? And
Do I
then,
need a certificate?
do I need a certificate? Am I allowed to do that? Do I need to do 10 years of training with monks so that I can be allowed to say things that I'm already feeling are coming inside of me? And I also had that moment of, am I going nuts? I'm hearing voices. This is not good. So I went through all
Mais
that.
pas bien.
Yeah. And I went through all that. And then I went through also walking in the fear of I cannot tell this to anyone outside of this community because they're gonna put me in an institution. Like I'm not gonna survive this. Like they're going to, and there's a mental hospital really close to where I live, and I was like, they're gonna send me there. I'm done. They're gonna send me there. And one day I had the courage, and that was a month ago. A month ago, I had the courage make to allow myself to show my sister and my mother a recording of me channeling Mary Magdalene.
Wow.
I did that.
Congratulations.
Thank
That's
you.
huge.
And my mom was crying, bawling her eyes out, and she was like, this is not you. This is real. This is true. And she was surprised. And the first time I allowed myself to channel, I was surprised. Because the thing that came and the blockage that I had was I'm way too young to be able to do this. And I had this idea in my head that to be able and allowed to channel these huge beings, you had to be 60, 70 with gray hair and that gorgeous goddess kind of woman. And I wasn't allowing myself. And one day the floodgates just opened.
Mm.
And it came through with all the work that we do in this curriculum, because you allow yourself to be so blatantly honest.
Ooh,
with
that's such a good point.
Yeah.
It takes a phenomenal level of courage to be that honest, to let the truth of us come out, because we were raised and inculcated and brainwashed to not tell the truth about who we are. Yeah, and that's one thing that I would say about you is you have this ferocious honesty about you. Radical honesty. I love that. Radical honesty. And it's what it takes to get through this. I love that. Radical honesty. The first time my mother heard me channel Athena, which was when I started that channeling journey back in 2017, I said, "What did you think?" And she goes, "It sounded like you with a British accent." Great. And then when she heard that I was channeling Yeshua, I heard her over talking to a friend one time, and she said to the lady, "Oh yeah, my daughter Lynn, she's back in my home. She had been living in Virginia. She moved back home. Yes, she's the one who says that she channels Jesus. What can I say?" And I was like, "Oh." And I walked in and I was like, "Mom, like, you don't really believe I channel Jesus?" She's like, "Come on, Lynn, you channel Jesus?" I'm like, "Okay, fine." Then there was the time that she saw me actually bring him forth and lay hands on a woman and do a healing in a hospital, in an emergency room. And now she can't shut up. She's like, "This is my daughter, Lynn. She channels Jesus." She's a, what did the priest at church said something like, "Oh, Lynn's a vessel." So my mother's like, "This is my daughter, Lynn. She channels Jesus. She's a vessel." I'm like, "Okay, Mom, calm down." So it went from one extreme to the other. Jesus doesn't talk with a British accent, but Athena did. Anyway, it's huge. Because I remember the first time my mediumship opened up, it was 2009. I had taken a trip to Israel, and I came to my sister, and I'm like, I can talk to dead people now. And she's like, "Oh my God." And I'm like, "Don't tell Mom," because I knew what was going to come. But now my mother's like, yeah, handing out my business card. If you have someone who's died and you need to talk to them, my daughter can help you do that. And I'm like, "Mom, mediumship's not my favorite thing, but it's all good. It's all part of the journey." All part of the journey. Okay, we have one more person here that I invited to come, Deborah Confer. So Deborah has had the most extraordinary gifts open up for her.
Yeah, I am totally amazed. I always knew I had something inside me, but I had this strong fear and I didn't want to take a look at it. I mean, from the time I was a little kid, but I kept pushing it away because, they lock people up like that. And I knew that I came here, I volunteered to come help Gaia and bring light to to Earth. And, but I was, raising a family and I just kept pushing it away. And
Ah, the
Yeshua,
mundane.
yeah, and Yeshua would appear every once in a while. Are you ready yet? Are you going to do this? And I'm like, no, I'm not. And then finally, I was on that network that Lynn was on and Tina's. And I said, gosh, she looks familiar to me. I don't know why I know her, but I know her. I got to follow her, find out what she's doing. Well, found out we had a lifetime in Atlantis because I kept looking at her going, oh my God, she's so familiar to me. And I am so thankful that I took this course because what it did is it opened it all up. But I always knew I had that feeling um, that I was here for something more, but I kept pushing it away because I let fear take over. And I took the course. I learned more about myself than I could even fathom. I just couldn't believe it. And I'm on a healing journey, and I know I'm here to heal people.
And you're phenomenally gifted. Deborah and I had a conversation earlier today, and I'm like, Deborah, you're so gifted. And she's like, almost like, oh, you say that, to everybody. And I'm like, no, I don't. If you've met me, one thing you know about me is I am radically honest.
Yes,
And
you are.
I tell things the way that they are. And I've had you do sessions on me. And so one of the things that we offer is certification to people. So you can get certified as a quantum Akashic healer, an advanced quantum Akashic healer. And you can get certified as a advanced quantum Akashic reader, depending upon, how many people you do it with 25 strangers. And in that training of working with 25 total strangers, you come to have such confidence that you could work with anybody under any circumstance. And that's something that Jesus had promised me a very long time ago. He said, it's like God never gives you more than you can handle. You will never have anybody put in front of you that you can't handle. And that's been the truth. And I've worked with thousands of people for tens of thousands of hours. And I have trained hundreds and hundreds of people through these tools and techniques, how to read the Akashic Records and such. And Deborah, when you went through that certification, I'd never received so many people going, oh my God, Deborah just did my reading and she was phenomenal. Oh my God, Deborah just did my healing and she was phenomenal. I'm like, are you paying these people? Like, where's all this coming from? And there was like person after person after person was like, I just have to tell you. So it was, and I've experienced you firsthand, so I know how gifted you are. And I thank you for what you're bringing to the world, because what you bring to the world is phenomenal. And I'm
Yes.
thrilled that we get to walk this path together.
Thank you, Lynn.
You're
I
welcome.
adore you. Thank you so much.
I adore you too. I have a mentor and she says, I can't become friends with my clients. And I'm like, dude, I can't not become friends with my clients. Like, I want to hang out with them on the weekends. I want to go on trips with them. We do retreats around the world. A bunch of us are headed off to Egypt together, to Antarctica with one of my clients and her husband. And gosh, where else are we going? We're going to France. I've written a couple books. I've
Yeah,
actually written,
your book is beautiful. I love that book.
there's a beautiful book with Mary Magdalene where Jesus and Magdalene came to me at the end of 2020 and said, will you take a journey with Mary Magdalene, channeling her every day, going through the 365 lessons of A Course in Miracles. And it turned into this gorgeous, gorgeous book. And the book sat on the bookshelf. And then in 2023, we took that journey in 2021 every day. In 2023, when we got back from Egypt, Jesus and Magdalene came forth and said, it's time to publish the book. And I was like, gulp. I had imposter syndrome. I thought I faked the whole thing. And as friends stepped forward, Nina was one of them, friends stepped forward to help with the editing. They're like, oh my God, Magdalene's words are gorgeous. And I was like, what? And they're like, oh yeah, this is not you. We know you and your personality. You don't talk like this. This is not you at all. That's the book. Laura Lee's holding up the book.
Yeah.
And there was this extraordinary transition that happened this year. Earlier this year, Magdalene came forth and she said, I want you to start a journey where you're going to read from the book every day. And we had a book club where people come together once a week. And I was sick with COVID. And I asked Laura Lee because she was started channeling Magdalene. I said, would you cover for me? And then the next week, Magdalene said, have her cover again. And then she said, have her take over the book club. And it was like a passing of the baton. So that's one thing I do. Number one, I tell the truth. Number two, if I'm in the middle of it, I'll call one on myself and I'll be like, I'm screwed and I'm wasted Sunday right now. If there's something I have to take responsibility for, I'll be like, mea culpa, I'm so sorry. I continue to do my inner work every single day of my life. I'm constantly looking at where do I need to continue to grow and learn. And another thing that I do really well is I turn things over. So I'm thrilled to be able to say that Laura Lee and Nina are going to be teaching the next Quantum Akashic Healing that's going to start in November, finish up in February. And then from there, we're going to launch the quantum teaching curriculum. So if the quantum teaching curriculum is something that you're interested in and you haven't already taken the Quantum Akashic Healing class, that's the prerequisite for the whole next year. And the class is taught over 12 classes. There's 11 techniques that are taught, and then an integration class. Some of the most powerful tools and techniques that you'll ever learn in your life that you can use in so many different ways. If you don't want to open up a business and go, hi, I'm a healer, or hi, I'm this or that, they're just tools and techniques that you can learn to open your heart, to reconnect to your soul, to have a relationship with the divine that's beyond your wildest imagination. And then from there, if you want to go on and learn everything else, if you've taken the class, then that's available to you. I think the last thing that I want to say about this is that if you're drawn to this, it's not because of me and my dazzling personality and intellect. It's because your soul has brought you to my doorstep. And it is truly the journey of your soul that gets you through this. And right before, I was talking with my staff, right before we were about to launch the class today, Spirit came through and said, let's offer a discount to anybody that comes today to the program. So the program is not inexpensive. It's 6 classes over a year. The cost is $22,222. For anyone that's taken Quantum Akashic Healing, there's a built-in discount where whatever you paid for that class gets applied. So that's a discount that you have that's built in. But also, we're being asked today to offer another coupon for a discount of $1,111. So the cost comes down significantly. And we also have payment plans. It's cheaper if you pay in full, but payment plans are available over a 12-month period over the course of the year. And also, there's 2 people that I take on to personally mentor throughout the year. We meet once a month. It adds the cost of the VIP with the mentoring is $33,333. There's not a discount on that. But what you get is me mentoring with you every single month. There is a period where I'm going to be going away, but I'm going to offer up Laura Lee to do the VIP work for those months while I'm gone. I'm going to be in India in silence. So it's going to be really, really intense. And there's just a lot else that comes, throughout the year. There's a lot of other courses and classes and retreats and things that come. And if you're in the quantum teaching curriculum, there's always a discount on those programs as well. So I just want to find out, does anyone have any questions at this point? I know that this recording is going to go out to a bunch of people. Anything that you want to know about me, about the tools, about the techniques, about what we teach and how we teach it. And if you feel shy of raising your hand, you can always message us and we'll get back to you.
All I can say is I'm so thankful that I took your course. I mean, I didn't know what I didn't know. And I just can't believe the transformation of my life in the past year. It brings tears to my eyes. It really does.
Thank you, my love.
And I'm very grateful. Thank you.
You're so welcome. I've loved having you on this journey. And this is only the beginning, as my mentor Melanie likes to say. There's so much, more goodness that's coming. Here's the discount coupon code. It's called Teaching, all capital letters. And Yeah, we'd love to have you. If your soul is calling for this, I agree, Alicia. If your soul is calling for this, Spirit will provide a way for you to come and be with us. That I promise you. It's truly the journey of a lifetime. Well, I thank you all so much for being here. And I love you. I'm here for you. If I can answer any questions, if there's any way that I can help. And Eva, who works with us, Eva's actually going to be in the classes next year. Just drop the link, and the coupon code is there as well. And we'll definitely, I think we're going to mail this out to the entire mailing list so everybody can have a chance to take a look at this. But I thank you. I thank you for your time. I always appreciate people's time. I think that it's something that's really precious. Actually, God put Lucifer, Samael, in charge of time and space. And it's something that when we learn how to master it, I've always said that love is a function of communication. And when you learn to communicate the things that you've always been afraid to say, it gives you a freedom like you can't believe. You then learn how to be present. And in being present, you learn how to move through time instead of time moving through you. What ages us is when time moves through us. But when you learn how to be present and how to move through time, and a lot of that is forgiveness work, and we learn that in the classes as well. But when you learn how to do that body of work, you become so present and your life truly becomes your own. You take your hands off of driving using the rearview mirror and you put your hands on the steering wheel of life and you direct where you're going instead of always being consumed with what has happened in the past, which makes you crazy, or your fear of what's going to happen in the future. You become the captain of your own ship, so to speak. So thank you all so much for being here. Lisa, God bless you for the work that you're doing with your mom. You have my deepest love and respect. Aw, I love that you guys come to visit the cats. That is the sweetest thing in the world. Absolutely the sweetest. And Gintana, thank you so much for being here, love. It's always a delight to see your smiling face. At one point, Gintana wrote to me and she's like, I don't think I know what I'm doing. I don't know that I'm in the right place. And I'm like, hang in there. You'll get it. And she keeps getting it. Every week she gets it more and more and more. And she keeps saying yes and yes and yes. So again, thank you all so much for being here. Much love, everybody. We'll probably do a few more of these before the end of the year.
Yes, we'll do another.
Yeah, this was such a pleasure and
It's
honor.
powerful.
Thank you all for coming to support this. I love you all madly, and we'll see you again soon.
Bye
Thank
bye.
you.
Everybody, you're
Thank you.
welcome. Bye.
Bye.